Charles Bukowski once said, "People empty me. I have to get away to recharge." Now, I felt like that for many decades. You can imagine, the adrenaline and nerves that you feel every time you perform. And that started at a very young age. I can remember the first time that I went to a band practice, joining a band as a kid, driving from Williamsburg, Virginia, to Toano, an adjacent town, a little small town, and going over to the Cheyenne's house. And they had two brothers. One was a drummer, and the other was a bass player. And the idea was to take my guitar playing and singing, talents that I'd been going to school with my acoustic and, playing songs. And I can remember, I don't even know, I think it might have been 4th grade or 5th or 6th grade, where I played the talent show at school. And I played Ace Frehley's New York Groove before the Walsingham Academy Catholic school. And I had a shirt that said New York Groove on it. I had my Univox 335 and a Harmony amp that would absolutely, once you cranked it, it would roar, right? And I had that old school RCA style microphone that I sang into. I could still see the pictures from that day. And that's the day where you realize, that first time you perform, you realize that all your classmates, all of a sudden, you're like the hero of the class. I was the hero all of a sudden. Just that quiet kid in class that, wasn't part of the, the rich kids or the cool kids necessarily. We had our own little clique, but we were kind of the oddballs of the school. And all of a sudden, I was the hero. All of a sudden, I had put on the cape. And the girls all of a sudden take notice. They take notice. Maybe it's something innate that women are seeking out someone that has a special talent, that has a special skill, that has a way to move a crowd. Maybe that's why women are drawn to musicians. I don't know. But there's a psychology behind all of this. And I talked about earlier about the need to get away. People drain you. And I can remember going to that first band practice. Now I was going to take that skill where I'd been able to get up in front of a crowd and sing and play guitar. And I got to a point where I could play a little bit of lead guitar. And I was heading over to the Cheyenne's house. And I can remember the mother, it was an Italian family, and the mother had prepared some food for us. And I don't think I ate a bite. My nerves, I felt nauseous. It was almost like I was taking that step, that move into a career that I instinctively knew was going to be years and decades of struggle and heartbreak, and maybe something innate, some instinct that I had inside my head was telling me, man, you're in for a long road. You're in for a world of pain. Maybe that's why when I would go to the doctor, or I would go to the dentist, or I'd go to the school counselor, and they'd say, what do you want to do when you grow up, Brad? What do you want to do? And I would tell them I want to play guitar. And everyone said, you can't do it. Oh no, you can't do that. Now understand that where I came from, the state of Virginia, and Williamsburg, Virginia, where there were very little opportunity to play music and make any money. There was one or two people that were teaching and playing gigs, and there was very little opportunity. And they weren't wrong in telling me that. They weren't wrong to tell me that. But that is why perhaps I felt sick to my stomach when I went over to that first band practice, the nerves. And you can imagine the world and the struggle and the pain that a career in music will give you. Now there are some that come to Nashville and 6 months later they're out with a huge artist and all that. Great, awful proud of you. But for most of us, it's going to be a world of struggle, a world of pain. And you're gonna have to be tough, and you're gonna have to be rough, and you're gonna have to demand people respect you. And you're gonna have to collect money, and you're gonna have to follow up with people who decide, I don't have to pay this guy. So when Bukowski says, people drain me, imagine feeling that stage fright, some form of it, every time you go out to play. The anxiety. I used to always get this anxiety behind the wheel. I'd be driving to my gig, and then you're dealing with the traffic. You're dealing with, people with road rage. And you're dealing with, trying to find your way. I've been gigging so long that I can remember having to write directions down on a piece of paper and hoping they were right. And, some of these band leaders that would give you the directions, it would be, you got to turn right here, and then you'll see a jiffy loop, and make a right at the jiffy loop. So you're literally writing down right at Jiffy Lube, past the red barn sign, But the anxiety and the stage fright just to get there and do it. And then, depending on what kind of gig it is, the adrenaline rush, the surge, when you're getting ready to go on stage, and the energy that you're then going to put out, and feed that energy out to the crowd. Put that vibe, that energy, the thing that really I loved about Elvis Presley is he could just do one little minimal movement. Yeah, he was gyrating around and doing all that. But there were times where he could just, and make people scream. Or it was almost like he was laying hands on the audience and command them to shriek with excitement. You're putting energy out into the world. It's sapping your energy getting to the gig. And then you get there, and then you're casting it out and casting it out and throwing it out there. You're trying to get a reaction. You're trying to make them feel what you feel. And for that hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours, whatever length your gig is, you're putting all that energy out so that they can feel what you're feeling. But then the gig is over, and you pack up your gear, and you go to your car, and you hear the silence. You can hear a pin drop, just the ringing of the ears. The turn of the key. The starting of the car. Now, there's a lot of musicians that don't listen to music on the way home from a gig. Some of them just turn the radio off. Me, I'd often just put on some talk radio or something just to keep me awake. You never know how long. You could have a 3-hour drive after gigs. Even as recently as this last year of me being in Nashville, play a gig, and drive all the way back from Louisville at midnight. Get home at 3 a.m. Talk about draining. But all that energy that you cast out into the crowd, it's leaving your body. You're casting it out into the audience. And now it's the next day, and you're drained, and your body is sore, because there's no workout that can prepare you for a 4-hour gig. You can go do your hour of cardio. And for many years, I did tons of cardio. I used to get up. People would be amazed. I'd play a gig, go home, party with the girlfriend or whatever, and I'd get up in the morning at 8 a.m. and go for a couple-mile jog. Now, my body won't allow me to do that anymore. The knees and the legs and the feet and all that. They're not in any condition to do that. I do walking now if I can, when I can. But you need that downtime. I would sometimes feel like I needed 2 to 3 days of nothing in order to complete one Saturday night gig. I would need 2 or 3 days of just silence. That's why I would spend Sundays just the whole day in bed, just trying to recuperate from all of it. Trying to come down off a gig is one of the hardest things to do. And, now that I don't drink, it would be really hard. I have to explain to my wife. I know the family's going to get up at 6 a.m. and I know everybody's going to want Daddy to be chipper and all that. But I would be just drained. And, in the years when I drank, we'd come home from the gig and just knocking them back, trying to come down. But, not drinking and knowing it's 1 a.m. and I gotta get to bed because everybody's gonna get up at 6 or 7 a.m. And I would lay in the bed, and I could just feel the heart going. Still elevated from 4 hours of aerobic activity. Playing in a band, man. Playing in a high energy party dance band is hard work. Put a 10-pound weight around your neck. I know I've had people on here, and yeah, there's people with incredibly hard jobs. But I'm telling you, doing this is not easy. Put a 10-pound weight around your neck and dance around for 4 hours and tell me how you feel. Strap a Les Paul around your neck and stand up for 4 hours and tell me how that feels. People drain me, and I have to go